Welcome to the FleetCrew Guide to the Clean Truck Check. My name is Craig Phillips and I am the President of FleetCrew.
My name is Christina Ross and I'm the Vice President of FleetCrew and serve our clients as their compliance manager.
FleetCrew keep our diesel fleets compliant with California's various and at times confusing and grueling clean air regulations. FleetCrew is a California diesel compliance expert that guide and support companies to properly manage and maintain their diesel fleet compliance efforts so that they can avoid costly violations and keep their trucks on the road and reduce downtime. FleetCrew, working together with your fleet, make us stronger together.
FleetCrew get it. CARB diesel compliance can be costly and confusing when your team lacks the time, knowledge, processes, and systems to keep your fleet in compliance, and with the CARB Clean Truck program, keeping it organized. FleetCrew want to be your guide and work with you in order to avoid costly violations. This is our roadmap for today's webinar. We're going to go through the new Clean Truck regulation, what it means, and what you need to do. We're going to go through the reporting and record keeping requirements, as well as CARB inspections and audits. And then we're also going to give you some tips about best practices if you're going to handle executing the Clean Truck program yourself, or if you're going to use FleetCrew as your compliance partner, how we would manage this program for you. California Air Resources Board has developed this new Clean Truck program. It is an engine and maintenance inspection program. So all trucks over 14,001 gross vehicle weight operating inside of California will now have to participate in this new program. This program was previously referred to as the Heavy Duty Inspection and Maintenance Certification Program. However, this year it was renamed the Clean Truck Check. There is no previous inspection and maintenance program today to monitor diesel engine maintenance. So this program will impact fleets from a budgetary and compliance perspective. There is a requirement of all fleets to submit test results to CARB proactively showing that your engine is in good working order and that the emission system is functioning properly. If your truck does require repairs, you also need to show that you've taken care of them and have minimized any emission-related issues. It is now time to prove when you operate in California that your trucks are well maintained. Does this rule apply to you? So if you have a non-gasoline vehicle over 14,000 pounds, it does apply to you. This applies whether you're registered in California or registered in another state, but do business and bring your truck into California. There is an annual compliance fee associated to this program that you will pay directly to CARB, and you will need to pay that every year. This regulation does include motorhomes and agricultural vehicles. You will need to make sure that the tests that you submit are done by a certified and approved tester using the approved testing equipment. And if you use freight contractors, it is now your responsibility to ensure that they are also abiding by this new Clean Truck Check regulation. And there are no low use exemptions in this regulation as there are in other regulations. If your vehicle does meet one of these, you are exempt from the Clean Truck Check, military, historical, emergency, or you have a zero emission vehicle. All of these, however, are very unique and not common. If your motorhome is registered out of California and you use it for recreational use and you come into California, you do not need to comply. But if your motorhome is registered in California, used for recreational or not, you do need to abide by the clean truck check. And then gasoline vehicles are exempt. The regulation has been implemented in a phased timeline situation. So the rule was approved in December 2021, and we are actually approaching phase 2. Phase 1 started earlier this year with roadside screening. So there are testing devices stationed all around California that are measuring the PM coming out of your exhaust and snapping a photo of your license plate. If you are considered a high emitter, you will receive a letter in the mail stating that you've been flagged as a high emitter and you need to submit testing information to prove that you're not. You have 30 days to resolve these. Phase 2 is the launch of the new CARB database. So about October, we expect CARB to release the access to the new database where you're going to need to load all of your vehicles into the program and pay your compliance fees. And then next year starts phase 3 where you're actually going to have to provide proactive testing results to CARB, upload those to that CARB portal, and show that your vehicle and engine are in good working order in order to renew your DMV registration. And the vehicle weight classifications, again, are class 4 and up that have to abide by this new rule. So you're looking at the Ford F450s and up. The Ford 350s and lower do not apply.
So roadside emission devices have been or are starting to be deployed. There are quite a few on some of the high volume road or trucking roads, and California has, CARB have sent out well over 1,500 notice to submit already so far this year. There are 30 days to comply, and basically these emission devices from our experience are pretty accurate. And it does indicate if you have some kind of engine issue going on. So if you've received a notice to submit, our recommendation is you notify us immediately so we can give you some assistance in identifying what the diagnostic codes are, what issues you have with your engine, which codes are appropriate, what repairs will help you get back into compliance. And you have 30 days to submit. All FleetCrew personnel are certified to complete the tests that are needed, and we can help you with the paperwork that is required to be submitted to CARB. In the event that CARB are disputing any of the findings or they start seeing your vehicle be flagged on a number of occasions, CARB referees will, your vehicle will be sent to a CARB referee for their inspection and for determining whether there is any potential issue with the results that you submitted or which CARB believe is coming from the engine, and this referee will resolve any dispute between the parties.
Onboard diagnostics, opacity smoke testing, and visual inspections. You could get these tests done by using a telematic device, dongles, kiosk, or hire third-party contractors such as FleetCrew to obtain these scans for you. The purpose of the OBD scans is to confirm that there are no mill issues present and that emission system hasn't been tampered with. You will need to submit these test submissions 2 times a year, and then after the 3rd year of the program, it will move to 4 times a year. Any failed inspections will require you to provide documentation to CARB showing that you've repaired your engine, and they will actually want to see copies of your work orders and invoices to prove that. If you pass your inspection, you will obtain a truck certificate. These truck certificates are handed out on a per truck basis. Some of the other regulations, you would get a certificate for the entire fleet. That's not the case in this one. And if you do not get a truck certificate for a vehicle of yours, you will not be able to renew the DMV registration.
All right, so on your dashboard, there is a MIL light, a malfunction indicator lamp, that is the specific diagnostic codes that CARB have identified that could lead to an emission-related fault. So you have an engine check light, you also have a MIL light, and these are the diagnostic codes that are being enforced by the Clean Truck Check. So we do a diagnostic inspection, identify the relevant codes, if there are any codes, get anything repaired before submitting to CARB their particular test and file, which we assume at that stage will pass the inspection.
There is a current PSIP opacity program, but this program will sunset next year once phase 3 of the Clean Truck Check program starts. There will be an opacity component to the Clean Truck Check if your engine is 2012 and older, which means if your engine is 2013 and newer, you will no longer need to perform an opacity because you will be doing an OBD download instead. If your engine is 2012 and older, the post DPF standard will continue to remain at 5% in order to pass. And the state no longer allows an honor system where you maintain the records and only supply them when asked. Now you will actually need to proactively provide those results, upload those to the new CARB portal to show that your engines have passed. Independent owner-operators in the PSIP program did not need to participate if they only had one truck. Unfortunately, in the Clean Truck Check program, they all now need to comply. Testers will need to be certified in the new program and use approved testing equipment. And if your engine is 2012 and older, you will also need an inspection of the emission system to be completed by a certified tester and supply that form to CARB as well. Again, here's a visual representation of the differences in testing. So again, if you have a 2012 and older engine, you will need to supply opacity test results and a visual inspection and confirm that there is no engine check light on the dash. And then if you have a 2013 and newer engine, you will be doing an OBD download to show that there are no active or permanent codes on your truck. And then if there are any issues, you will also need to supply proof of repairs. And then if you have a zero emission vehicle, then you do not need to comply with this regulation. The timing of inspections is where this program will get tricky for fleets to do on their own, because the testing intervals of 2 or 4 times a year are all based on that vehicle's registration renewal date. For example, if your registration is due in October, for the first 3 years of the program, you're going to submit to CARB test results by October and by April. Many fleets have several vehicles in their fleet with varying registration renewal dates. So now to manage the 2 and 4 time intervals for each of these vehicles can definitely add a lot of stress to a company. If your vehicles are registered out of state but come into the state, or maybe they have exempt plates or school buses or have IRP plates, then CARB has outlined that the last digit of your VIN is going to dictate your testing due dates. Passing results may be submitted to CARB up to 90 days before your compliance deadline. So in order to be compliant and DMV eligible, the Fleets need to register vehicles in the new CARB web portal. Make sure you take care of any enforcement actions or notices you may receive. Make sure you pay your compliance fee annually. Make sure all owner and vehicle information is updated and reported annually. Make sure you have no mill-related active codes on your engine, and if you do, make sure you take care of those immediately. And then make sure you submit all of your testing to CARB prior to your due date. The drivers also have some responsibilities. You may be selected for a roadside inspection. We just want to make sure you understand that if you are asked to participate in a roadside inspection, you will need to show proof of driver's license, registration, open your vehicle and hood and allow the inspector to take a look at your truck. And if you do not allow an inspection to take place, it is considered a violation of this clean truck rule. So you may run into some penalties. If your company hires freight contractors, it is now your responsibility to verify those contractors are in compliance with the Clean Truck Check program and maintain records that they are. That if you work with FleetCrew, we can help you out with that. If you let us know what contractors you use, we can confirm that those vehicles are in compliance with the Clean Truck rule.
So it's time to start planning for your company what operational changes you're going to need to be in compliance with the Clean Truck Check. We've made just a short list of things that you might want to start considering, how you're going to connect to your trucks and connect to ARB to provide this information, what diagnostic engine software you're going to be using, and it's probably a variety of engine diagnostic software through your fleet. How will you track this internally by due dates, and how will you get all of this engine repairs done in a timely basis to ensure that you can submit a clean test to ARB for DMV registration? And if you're using outside repairs, who's going to facilitate those quotes? Who you're going to send it to? Is it going to vary by yard, or is it the same for your fleet? So processes are going to be probably reviewing how you do the as is today. Is each branch going to be doing it the same, or is some branches, some remote branches just don't have access to the same level of different vendors to get the repairs done? Where are you going to keep all of this repair documentation? Who's going to get certified? Who's going to get all of the training to be in compliance with the Clean Truck rule? Who's going to do the reporting and provide the tests to CARB? And who's going to manage the process when a truck fails one of the tests and needs to be repaired in a timely fashion to be able to submit a clean test? If you partner with FleetCrew, we're going to make a number of recommendations as we work with you. Basically, we'll provide a guide. The fleet is still going to decide how they do it, and we're going to get their permission to decide how we will do it for them. But obviously, if you're currently using a GPS system and have some view that you're going to connect concurrently to continuously send ARB your OBD files, we would certainly caution you in this regard, as most of our fleet managers do not want to hear from ARB or to hear that they have an issue. They rather hear from their own fleet first. So older trucks still require manual field inspections along with the PSIP test to ensure that there are no active lights and everything is working, all the emission system is working as designed. And certainly we believe that it's time to sit down and consider what your strategy is to manage this. What fault codes are going to be actionable, understanding the difference between a mill fault code and all the rest of the diagnostic fault codes that go on with your trucks. When will you do it in-house? When will you send your truck out for repair? Who will your vendors be? Maybe different by branch location. Tracking the maintenance status as such, and who will manage carb extensions if needed, if some repair has been delayed either for parts availability or for some other issue. So the program is time sensitive, and this certainly is implementing a preventative maintenance system for your fleet that there are obviously some benefits for, but it is being monitored and managed by ARB. So partnering with FleetCrew, our goal is to reduce the stress that you'll have in terms of trying to manage this program. So working with FleetCrew, the first step for us is generating all of the records to be able to register in the third quarter by vehicle. During this process, we would try to educate and all of your staff on what exactly their responsibility is with regard to the regulation. Get these all of your trucks registered online into the CARB reporting system, and then start personalizing our records and understanding who the fleet contacts are at the various locations, who has what responsibility, so that we can be well repaired when a truck inspection shows that a repair is necessary. And we mirror all of that data into our FleetCrew IQ software so that we can manage it on your behalf. The whole repair and communication plan is where additional work is probably going to be required in most fleets. In terms of developing, okay, how are we going to connect to the truck, what the inspection plan is, what the repair plan is for the fleet. Certainly we believe that these fault codes are going to be coming up fairly regularly, and there's no reason to try to react once you become aware of the fault code. We can together develop a plan where, depending on the diagnostic code, we know who's going to repair that truck, where it's going to go, and what the estimated costs are for that repair. So we go through your personalized inspection process, how we're going to collect the diagnostic files by yard. It may be different depending on the location and the trucks. How we are mutually going to follow up on any repairs that are being done by third party or even by your own staff, and when, at what stage we need to trigger and try to get an extension for a repair that is taking longer than expected. But basically the goal is to ensure that every truck is repaired and the repairs are properly documented. Getting a truck certificate on time before the DMV registration to ensure that DMV registration can go ahead without any delays and without providing any issues for the fleet is the goal of FleetCrew working with your fleet. So we're keen to get started with you. If you're interested, we can schedule a consultation. We'll be inspecting the fleet, create some customized plan, and hopefully work together so that you can have a stress-free clean truck program implemented at your fleet.
If you're ready to move forward and partner with FleetCrew, you can give us a call or send us an email and we can get you started. We can also provide you on-site training to your staff if needed. And if you receive a notice to submit to testing letter, please stop by one of our Zippy locations so we can help you get that resolved. Again, you only have 30 days to take care of that, and all of our mechanics at all of our locations are CARB approved and certified to help deal with those NTSs.
CARB compliance regulations are complicated, and the process to obtain compliance can be grueling. We know this leaves you feeling stressed and overwhelmed at times. We believe CARB compliance shouldn't be a burden for your company, and we're ready to partner with you to get these regulations, for you to manage these regulations. We are going to be stronger together. We look forward to hearing from you.